Hi, my name is Adria and I'm a middle school science teacher. I've been teaching for the last 10 years. I started teaching at San Francisco Unified School District, where I spent 3 years as a 7th and 8th grade science teacher. From there, I moved to Santa Cruz, Bolivia, where I spent 4 years as a 7th and 8th grade science teacher. In addition, I was also the math teacher for 8th grade. From there, I moved here to the International School of Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and I've spent the last 3 years teaching grade 6 math and science. This June, I'll be moving back to California, and my goal is to continue teaching middle school science. I have a passion for public education. I'm looking for a public school job, and I have a real enjoyment of middle school. I enjoy developmentally where the students are at and want to be a part of the process as they grow and develop into young adults. And I've spent the last 10 years developing myself professionally, both in the area of science and the area of middle school education. The 3 schools that I've worked at over the last 10 years have been quite different from one another. Benjamin Franklin Middle School in San Francisco hosted a newcomer program, and about 2/3 of the students at the school were brand new to the United States. They were placed in a 1-year intensive English program, and after that they were put into an ESL strand. I taught an ESL science strand, and then I also taught some mainstream science. The students who were in the mainstream course all spoke English as their first language. However, many different dialects were represented among those students. The population at the school was considered at risk based on their test scores and their socioeconomic level. In Santa Cruz, Bolivia, almost every student at the school was an English language learner. They'd started the program there in kindergarten, so they'd been speaking English for several years, but by middle school they were still learning and acquiring a lot of English. In fact, I only had one American at that school in 4 years who had English as a first language, and the rest of the students were on a constant learning curve. Here in Malaysia, I teach students that represent over 30 different nations. Some of the students, English is their first language, but for a majority of the students here, English is their second or even their third language. As I think back to the several schools that I've worked at, there's been one consistent thread that has woven itself through my time at Benjamin Franklin Middle School and Santa Cruz Cooperative School and here at ISKL. And that is all of these schools have had a lot of English language learners at them. This sort of prompted me last year to go back to school, and I got my master's in English as a second language. One of the biggest things I've realized over this year since I got my degree and as I was studying in my coursework is that all of the structures that I learned in my program, implementing things like the SIOP method into my lesson planning and all the other differentiation structures that I've begun to implement, is that not only are my ESL students benefiting from that, but so are my native language speakers. And those structures are things that benefit all my students and give everyone access to the content, to the benchmarks and standards that we're working on, and really also gives them a lot of study habits and ways to access things throughout all of their other classes as well.